Tonight on Wildlife at the Zoo. Rejected by his father, a young gorilla has to leave his home in France to take a long journey to Australia.
He's very nervous. He saw the aircraft crew and he's starting to worry.
And his arrival marks a whole new chapter for Taronga's gorilla community.
Well, there's excitement in the air, but there's nervousness too, because we haven't had a new gorilla in our grounds for a long, long time. It's made the group a little unsettled.
"17,000 kilometres away from Taronga Zoo, near the Bordeaux region of France, is a sanctuary renowned for its large community of primates. Among them is a family of western lowland gorillas. And one of these gorillas is bound for Sydney. 11-year-old Kibali has been rejected by his father, the senior male or silverback, and has been living alone. Keeper Jean-Pascal has observed the silverback's reaction to Kabali ever since he reached adolescence and became a potential threat.
It was a question of safety to take Kibali out of his group because his father is a very serious gorilla. We don't want him to be hurt.
For Kabali's protection, he was removed from the group 4 months ago.
It was hard for Kibali to be out of his group. Kibali is a real sensitive gorilla. Just like his mother, they are quickly anxious. It makes it harder for him to be alone because he is a very social animal and he was very close to his small brothers and half brothers. But it was safer for him to be out.
For this reason, it's best Kabali leaves his community here and takes a senior role with another group of gorillas.
I don't know if Kibali knows what's coming. I'm sure he feels that we are all nervous.
In the wild, a teenage male gorilla or blackback leaves his family when he matures to become a silverback. And that's what will happen to Kabali, except his rite of passage will also take him to the other side of the world. At Taronga Zoo in Sydney, Kabali's arrival is eagerly awaited. He's replacing the ageing silverback here. He's already sired 14 offspring and will soon be retired to a bachelor community at another zoo.
I think we were tremendously lucky to come across Kabali. He's a perfect replacement. If there is one, Kabali's it. Our 3 females are pretty gutsy and they're quite strong, quite powerful, and I think pretty moody too. So the male that was going to take those females on had to be, I guess, had experience in a really good social setting and was able to deal with all those things that those females can throw at him.
The females all have individual personalities. 27-year-old Frala is a loner, 33-year-old Kriba is a good mother but often restless, and 39-year-old Mawila likes to spoil her babies. As well as the 3 adults, there's 7-year-old Kimya. She has the gentlest nature and is now ready to breed. The female's genetics have been computer matched with Kabali's.
Click on a button, create offspring, and there we go. Inbreeding 0, so perfect.
Although Kabali is an excellent genetic match, keepers had to see him for themselves to ensure he'd fit in with Taronga's females.
So Lou and I went to Europe to look for the perfect male gorilla, and we had 5 on our shortlist. Out of those 5, Kibali was the absolute top pick, quite rapidly. This boy is just perfect. He is so confident for his age, and he's gentle. He's gentle whilst he is trying to assert his dominance, but in a way that is not too much. He seems to have a bit of wisdom about him.
Hopefully Kabali will be able to win over the tricky females. But keepers also see his arrival as part of a worldwide conservation program.
Western lowland gorillas, there may be 150, 200,000 left. Hunting and disease in particular is wiping them out very, very fast. So What can we do? We can have an insurance breeding population against extinction so that in years to come, when the threats have been diminished, we will have animals in the zoos around the world for potential release back to the wild.
In France, it's a freezing midwinter day. And on the eve of Kabali's departure to Sydney, keepers are preparing his food for the 3-day journey.
That, okay, fruit. Of course, he like old monkeys, he like banana.
He's also getting a special farewell meal tonight.
I know Kibali until she's born here, so I'm 12 years old, so I know what he liked. So I prepare for him today. That pasta. Yeah, he liked that really much.
Ahead of the journey, Kabali's been isolated in the zoo's quarantine area. Only his keepers are allowed to visit him here.
Okay, here we go.
Oui. C'est bien ça, mon Kibali. Oui.
He knows something happened today already. Shit, it's like that. But I hope he's okay for tonight. We will see. Man, I'm very, very happy for Kibali. For the good life, for the gorillas, you have the social life. He want to play with the young. He want the female. Of course, he want the social life.
Tomorrow, Kabali will be led from the quarantine area into this crate, secured inside, then flown to Sydney to start his new life. At Taronga, there's huge excitement at Kabali's imminent arrival as keepers put the finishing touches on his new quarters.
Welcome to Kabali's new home. This is his new exhibit and will be his home for the next few years. We've been working on it over the last week or so and doing touches up to make sure that everything's safe and secure for him, and making it look nice. And of course, we've made it gorilla-proof, which means we've looked at our walls and our security side of things. Really, we want to make him as comfortable as possible. He is the future for our breeding group, and eventually he's going to be getting a girlfriend, so we want him to just feel secure and safe.
The noise from the renovations is heard by the other gorillas next door.
Because there's been a lot of work done in here recently, that always puts gorillas offside. They're very gentle and nervous animals anyway, so to have a lot of contractors coming in and a lot of keepers coming down and checking things out, it's made the group a little unsettled. The vibe is mixed emotions, really. There's excitement in the air because it is really exciting to get a new black-backed gorilla in, but there's nervousness too because this is new. We haven't had a new gorilla in our grounds for a long, long time.
It's the long-awaited day of Kabali's departure from France.
Today is the D-Day for us because we have to close Kibali in his crate.
Over the last few weeks, he's been trained to go into the tunnel, then take food from the crate. But today the door will be locked behind him, and he won't be coming out until he arrives in Sydney.
Oh, Kibali, viens mon kiki. Allez, viens, quand même.
If Kabali doesn't walk into the crate, he'll have to be darted. As Kabali moves forward, the keeper hopes to close the door to his enclosure behind him. He only gets there just in time. Although Kabali's extremely nervous, there's nowhere for him to go now except to the crate, where a meal of fruit and leafy green vegetables awaits him. When the door closes behind him, he voices his disapproval.
Okay, he's in.
So now we are going to load the crate in the truck. It will be better for him. You can hear that he screamed, so he is very nervous.
It could be a stressful trip for Kabali, but keeper Jean-Pascal will be there to comfort and feed him all the way.
We have more than 22 hours of flight, so it will be a long journey for him in a small crate.
They'll be travelling together by cargo plane on an 18,000-kilometre flight from Paris via New Delhi and Hong Kong before arriving in Sydney.
Kibali doesn't speak Australian, but I will have access to him all trip long, and it will allow me to give him food and drink often, and to be with him, to talk to him, to show him that even if this is a strange situation, this is nothing bad.
It's a 5-hour journey from the Bordeaux region to a holding yard outside Charles de Gaulle Airport, where Kabali will wait to board his plane. Back at Taronga, keepers have selected the female Kabali will meet first when he arrives. 7-year-old Kimya is the youngest female of breeding age here.
Kimya comes from a really good family line, very, very good. Her mother was a very good mother, and I believe that Kimya will have those traits as well. I think that one of the other females would have just been too strong for him at this point in time in terms of potentially not only physical strength, but I think personality.
Kimya's name in Swahili means the quiet one, but like the other females here, she can be feisty, and there's no guarantee she won't reject Kabali. In Paris, Kabali has cleared customs. Keeper Jean-Pascal will be sitting in an upstairs cabin of the cargo plane, but will have constant access to Kabali, especially at stressful times just before takeoff.
I think it's a really scary moment for him. He is anxious as soon as he sees new faces. So he saw the aircraft crew and he's starting to worry. I really have to check that nobody is too close.
By the time the plane takes off, it's been a huge day for Kabali. He'd normally be asleep by now, but is wide awake. He's refusing food and even his favourite Italian sparkling mineral water. And he's been restless.
So he lay down maybe to sleep or go sleep now.
The first leg of Kabali's journey takes around 9 hours. And on arrival in New Delhi, he's still restless.
Doesn't want anything. I already have to ask the crew of the airport to stay away from the crate, so maybe it's quite stressing hour for him, which is coming.
Next stop, Hong Kong, where Kabali faces a 10-hour stopover when he'll be changing planes. After 8 hours on the ground, he's loaded onto his next flight for the final leg of the journey.
Now Kibali is looking good. He drinks something. He just have been loaded in the last aircraft to Sydney, but he is in his crate for about 54 hours now, so it's been a really long time in a so close space.
At Taronga, keepers are preparing to meet Kabali at the airport. Vet Larry Vogelnest will be in charge of his health and is prepared for any emergency.
We'll meet you up there.
Okay.
So all I'm taking with is just a little dart pistol and just a few darts and some drugs. Really not much at all, even though it's such a remote possibility. But, you know, if there's an accident, for example, something like that, we just need to make sure we cover all those bases.
While Kabali may seem to be a very calm, gentle, potentially confident animal in his group, you take him out of that normal situation and who knows how he's exactly going to deal with that. Fingers crossed he looks good and he's okay, just a bit jet lagged.
At Sydney Airport, Kabali's plane has just arrived. After his 3-day journey, he's not happy.
Yeah, he seems to be fed up being in this crate because he just start slamming and tapping on the crate.
Now that he's touched down in Australia, Kibali's care becomes the responsibility of Taronga Zoo.
Has he been eating something?
Yeah, during this flight he ate a lot, yeah.
Yeah, good. I think it's probably best just not to disturb him. I mean, the poor guy's probably wondering what the hell going on anyway. I mean, he hasn't slept a lot, pretty exhausted and obviously quite nervous about the noises, and he's obviously aware of all the changes and the movement of the plane. So it's completely understandable that he'd be scared.
It's been 2 years in the making, so it always takes that long to bring a new animal in that's that important for genetic reasons as well as behavioural. So, yeah, very exciting to see it all come to fruition. Taking some? Yes, he is.
Powerade, everyone loves Powerade.
Of course, the proof will be in the pudding when he gets introduced to the girls, because they get to decide if they like each other.
But the female gorillas won't be meeting Kabali just yet. When he arrives at Taronga, he's taken directly to quarantine, where he'll spend the next 30 days.
Oh, hello, gorgeous boy. Oh, he looks a bit bigger than he did. He's a gorgeous boy.
Okay, let's get this off and we'll get him in there soon.
What's your face?
Kabali is quiet and calm as he's transported into his temporary quarters.
Hello, beautiful.
Let it go.
But he's immediately curious when he's released.
He looks fantastic.
But can you see he's already looking around?
He's extremely interested in everything, actually, exploring everything, testing everything, but we'll let him settle for a while now. He looks good. I mean, he's an extremely healthy-looking animal. Amazingly calm, actually, which is fantastic. He's not bashing around or beating his chest or threatening or anything like that. He seems very relaxed. I'm sure he's probably a little bit scared, but he's not showing it.
Go, Bali! Yay!
In his first few days, Kabali is eating well, sleeping at night, and for company in the afternoon he watches TV. The Ellen Show is a favourite, and he's enjoying his time at Taronga.
Bali, swim again.
Now that Kabali's settled, it's time for Jean-Pascal to return to France.
I don't think I would be really sad to leave Kibali. I know he has to go and live his life now. This is not my gorilla. This is not a pet. I will miss him, but I know he will be fine. I'm looking forward to learn that he will be put out of the quarantine and how the introduction with the females will go. I would like to be there at this time, but I can't stay.
But before Kabali can meet his first female here, Kimya, he has to receive a series of medical tests which could be traumatic.
So this morning we're going to anaesthetise Kabali to do his post-arrival quarantine check. We've got a sort of an area in our quarantine which is quite enclosed, and it just has small little holes to look through that we can dart him through. And so we're going to have the light on in there and turn the light off everywhere else, so he actually won't necessarily be able to see me coming up, and I'll be able to dart him through a little sort of hole in the wall, and so he won't actually see my face, he won't see the dart gun and things like that, and hopefully he'll just, wow, something hit me. One of you guys just concentrate on any movement, breathing, all that kind of stuff. Okay?
Weighing 113 kilos, Kabali's heavier than many rugby professionals. The anaesthetic on the dart will immobilise him until he goes under a general anaesthetic at the vet hospital.
Okay. He seems deep. What have you got him on, Lizzie? Put him on. Yeah, good idea. Okay, let's start his exam. So we're just going to take some x-rays of his chest. So the Australian Quarantine Inspection Service requires us to do TB testing, so that's what we're doing. Everyone out? Okay. Okay, so that's good. We're just going to get a swab from his rectum now for bacterial culture.
Although Kabali passed all his tests in France, Larry wants to ensure he didn't pick up any diseases during his journey.
There are a number of bacteria that these guys can have which could potentially be problematic when he's introduced to the group, so it's good to know what bacteria they have. And then, of course, we do the physical exam and get all the other samples for their own purposes so that we have a good baseline health data on him. Haven't found anything wrong with him. He's magnificent. I mean, he's in excellent health. Just a beautiful animal. Yeah, he's just incredible. I mean, everything's just perfect about him.
Today is a turning point for the gorilla community. Kabali's arriving at his renovated bachelor quarters next door. Over time, he'll replace the ageing silverback here, Kababu.
Can you keep an eye on Kababu? Just call me if there's any issue.
Bound and anaesthetised, Kabali is carried into a separate part of the gorilla complex, well beyond the view of the other gorillas.
Kabali's just arrived, and you can tell by my reaction I'm pretty excited. And you can see by our silverback's reaction, I don't know whether he's excited or whether he's nervous about the whole thing. Obviously, he knows that there's something major happening next door. He probably still can't smell him as yet because there's obviously the windows in front. But yeah, he's on tenterhooks in there and he's ready to see what's going on.
After waking from his anaesthetic, Kabali explores his new home. Next door is Kimya. She'll be Kabali's first visitor in Sydney, and when he's settled, they'll be introduced.
I guess it's the situation you face with any animal introduction, that there's always the possibility that the two individuals you're trying to put together are not going to like each other. I guess the worst case scenario here is that they have the potential to inflict huge wounds. You know, these guys have massive canines, they're very strong and powerful.
Next time on Wildlife at the Zoo. After 30 days in quarantine, Kabali's bachelor days are over. And keepers can only wait to see if the new couple adjust to life together.
This is probably, a little bit unsettling for them both.
And arranging a date between two elephants poses a challenge for keepers.
We're reaching a spot that for some reason can sometimes make the elephants a little nervous.